All right, so let me get this out. I think I'm going to post this to Facebook too. So today I'm actually going to be expanding on some of the code that I wrote yesterday for handling UI elements like buttons. Today I'm going to take that code and mold it even more into an event pump. So I'm going to take things like the joystick input, the button input, keyboard input, and all that. And instead of actually polling for it, I am going to have a little piece of code that checks for it and then sends all of that information out to the state to handle it. So we'll see how well that goes. In fact, let me get this. There we go. All right, so the very first part of this is going to be boring because I just got to get it all set up. I don't have two monitors, unfortunately, at the moment. My other monitor stopped working the other day, which is kind of a pain in the ass, really. Really helps having a second monitor for checking video and stuff like that, particularly checking um, the my uplink because my internet has been kind of I don't know, ghetto lately. In fact, I think that was exactly the way I referred to it yesterday. It's just straight up fucking ghetto, man. So anyway, getting started into this. So a lot of this is going to revolve around how the state machine in each of the individual states work. See, all of the scenes that you see are an individual state, and I use a very simple linear state machine to handle um, uh, all of the management for navigating and all of that. With of course, a lot of that is controlled by the state itself as far as navigation goes. But it's actually kind of a, a documented protocol or kind of a standard protocol within chaos for the way that this works. Um, so each state has four functions that are virtually dispatched for the terms of a sim language. So they're just an indirect call, an indirect jump, or JSR. Um, and these allow each individual state to have its own behavior. So the first two are actually pretty important. They're on enter and on exit. And these are called by the state machine anytime that you change states or when you start up the state machine. So on enter is called and allows each state to kind of set things up the way that it needs to be. Now in our case, what we do is we initialize our layers, we allocate our layers, and then each individual state decides which layers it wants. So that on enter function kind of helps that. And then of course you have on exit, which is used to kind of clean that stuff up. Now usually within the context of Kumiko, I don't actually have to do a whole lot of cleanup too often because the states just typically, at least for the primary scenes, like the main title, the start screen and all that, just reinitializes everything because it doesn't need to do anything. That saves me all the hassle of having to clean stuff up. But in one of the states that I use within the game, because it has actually several states associated with it, you get to the end, you get that the game completed or stage completed message that pops up on the screen. Well, at that point, when I enter the state, I add an extra layer into the scene, and then I populate it. And then when I exit, I remove that layer and kind of clean all of it up so that it doesn't conflict with them because you're not reinitializing anything in there. So the third function is the on update function, and that is actually what kind of drives all of the UI or all of the updates, the draws and logic updates. So each update you get that kind of calls into the scene, lets it do all of its ticks. It handles all of the restore of the screen, page flipping, and all of that other good stuff. And that's kind of where we're handling all of our user interface events at the moment. Well, and the fourth function is one that we're going to be utilizing today. We're going to be taking advantage of that. That's something that I haven't been using very much in this game and in particular, and that's on event. And what this function allows events to be dispatched externally from the state machine, so that logic doesn't have to be in there. For example, when I do fade ins and fade outs, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kick that off, and then I'm going to wait for that event to pop off that says that, hey, the fade is completed, because that's going to be handled all by the interrupt in that context. And you don't want to be calling code from an interrupt. That is just one thing that you really don't want to do. So it has to happen asynchronously, where the interrupt says, okay, we're done with the palette fade or the palette fade in or fade out, and now we need to set a flag, and that flag will be picked up by something externally. It'll turn that into event and dispatch it so that the state can handle it. By doing that, each state can actually just respond to that event rather than having to worry about the mechanics of checking for a particular variable and just kicking off a bunch of shit. So that's going to help us. Now, yesterday, I kind of prepped some of that stuff within the start game scene state. Now, some of that is actually being moved out, and the code that I'm writing today will actually be integrated later on with um, the uh, uh, with the input manager, so that it can go ahead and handle the pump of all of the events, and that'll all happen externally. And that's one thing I'm not using right now at the moment either. But hopefully it'll all come together, and this allows me to stage it in the start game state and then move it over. That way, any of the changes I do, if I break something, big, I can fix it here and worry about any little minor glitches when I do integration. That way, I know that the code is solid and it works pretty well. Now, yesterday, after I got done, I actually took some of the code that I did and I moved it out of the start game state, and I created this new layer for UI button layer and moved some of the functionality into there. That way, if I've got any more functionality that I want to add into to managing user interface elements, and I can go ahead and drop it in here, and everybody else can use it. The second thing that I did was actually updated the find button function. Before, I was looking for buttons that were enabled, and I was basing the coordinate or the click point off of the input cursor. So what I did is I changed that up to take the X and Y position of the click spot in the X and U register, and then return the button that's found in X or if it's found. If it's not found, then X is actually preserved. That allows me to check more layers if I need to. And then, of course, we still set the carry or clear the carry based on whether or not we found it. And if we do find it, we set the X and then return it. So this works pretty good. So what we're going to be doing is taking all of this code here in the update function and splitting this up. I've already got that highlighted. So especially this enter and exit function. This was what I was looking at earlier, kind of my start point. And because of the way that it handles saving and restoring of the or preserving and restoring the registers on entry and exit, I'm going to change that up a little bit and separate that out. And I may actually break it for a while. But that should be easy. And all of this right here is going to be kind of moved out and turned into something that changes all of these inputs into an event and dispatches them. And this will actually be used across all the functions, because if you look here, let me start a new game. Enter. When we get to the armory, we've got not only we've got 3 buttons down here, exit, buy, and sell, but we've also got 6 weapons. I'm looking to expand that. I just don't know what to put up there yet. Not really sure how I want to do some of that, but each one of these I want to work as kind of a UI element, so that if I can drop it up there as a user interface button, have it change the appearance of whichever one is selected, and then and handle all that, and handle it within the same context that I'm handling, or the same way that I'm handling all of the buttons. I want all of that to be pretty cohesive and across the board, so that I don't have to worry about tweaking things for here and there. And none of this stuff is really a corner case per se. I mean, all of this kind of stuff is basic user interface elements, so that should work. So I'm gonna get started here and start breaking some of this code up. And I've got my music on. I got my Pure Leaf tea. I got my Oreos most stuff. In fact, I don't even know if the camera can see that right now. And of course, I got my weed. Gotta have my weed. So, so yeah, let's get started here and start pulling some of this code. I'm not really sure how long this is going to take, because I haven't actually put a whole lot of thought into it as far as like how I'm going to start breaking up the code. I do know that well, I mean, I know how chaos and all that works, and how certain elements of it or aspects of it are supposed to work. So I got that going for me, but we'll see. So, and of course, this is going to end up being some table-driven stuff, or at least it should be. So we'll be doing some linear searches, which is going to be an ON kind of situation. But at this point, or in this context, that really doesn't matter. So let's get started here and start kind of moving some of this stuff out. Let's see, actually, how do I want to name this? Let's do on start game. Make it a little more obvious of what this particular function is handling, because I've got some code in here. I don't have a place where I'm actually initializing the actual game yet. I've been really working with single stage stuff, so having that one, I'm just and really I'm just going to add another state, which has all of the setup stuff in the on enter function, and then that's going to go ahead and take care of it. And I can just drop that in anywhere I need it. So if I create like variants of the game, then I've already got my initialization code, or at least the bulk of it already there. So let's get rid of this, and we do need to preserve X. Oh, maybe not. Yep. And D we actually don't care about. D is for all functions. In fact, if you look, pull up the state again. The source chaos state machine. So all of these four functions all take the same arguments. You've got the address of the state itself in Y, the address of the state machine in X, and this allows us to call things like going to the next state or going to a specific state, and then two optional arguments which come in D and U. So neither D or U really has to be saved here. So I just need to go through and clean some of that up, and I'll probably do some of that today. So here we actually don't need to do that. GSO score clear, TR4 to Y, boom, and we're done. And we can, and this is, oops, no, we just don't need to do anything there, do we? Okay, and we are done there. And I use fin just as kind of a generic get the fuck out kind of thing. All right, so we're gonna do this. Exit scene. And we don't need to really do anything right with that. Okay, that's so actually, you know what? I should probably do this. Just to do this, and we're just gonna branch to fin. And we had what was it on click? Yeah. Nope, on click was not it. The fuck did I remove XP? Oh, on enter. Oh, I already did that. Oops. Did not want to do that. Exit. We're going to take, and if you're wondering how I actually jump back to, to the place where I was before, I just do Control Z after I do the copy, and then I do a paste, and that helps me get there real quick. So we're actually going to do this. And that should be it just fine. No. Oh, Dan, branch is out of range. Wow. Oops, enter. There we go. Yeah, some of the error messages that my assembler kicks out are just pretty whack. So I guess I should probably click that out of there before it does that, and everything should be fine. Okay, we've got that. Now we've got our functions out of here. Clear JSR, clear score trasher, X to Y, and boom, we are good to go. transfer X to Y, and then just jump to the particular state. I should probably do something about this. This is really common code. This happens a lot. All I really need to do is pass it the ID and have it go. I should add a state function or a function of the state itself, and that kind of helps out with that. So, so luckily I don't have to do a transfer into Y all that often. I think I've got like 16 of those throughout the entire code. So, and a couple of transfers used U to Y, and so okay, got that separated out. Um, Now on click, that's gonna change a bit. And backspace is gonna be on key. So all of this garbage needs to be pulled out of here. And this is going to get a little messy real quick. Of course, that won't stand long. Okay, add character and backspace are the two that need to go into there because those actually affect the text entry box. So let's do this. Yeah, actually, I should probably just give that a pretty quick go. Make sure I haven't messed anything up too bad. Do. Okay. Yep, screwed it up. Oh, I know why. No, the hell? Yeah, those should be just fine. Oh, that's right. That's gonna screw that up. Um, so I do need to preserve Y here, at least for the moment. See, Y is going to be accessed later on by the state machine as it returns. At least I'm pretty sure that's what the problem is. No, actually, that shouldn't matter. But we'll try it anyway. It's just not going to make a fucking bit of difference. And I forgot to exit. But hey, at least it blows up silently. That's good. Actually, no, I should probably check to make sure that this is working ahead of time. Oh, and it changes the colors. That's a legit crash. Okay, yeah, I didn't think that was going to do anything. So I've got. I really hate changing small code like this because it always. Okay. Ah, there we go. That's why. Okay, that's gonna screw something up. Okay, so I may have to. I'm not gonna change any of that code until I. Oh, all right, so I guess we're gonna have to extract on click as well. Equal to on click. Let's cheat a little bit. Branch equal to make that smaller. Change that for right now. Oh man, do I really want to do this? No, yeah, I do. Because this code's going to get replaced anyway. Okay. And this is all going to get changed. Well, this some of this is going to go away. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, I probably should have thought about this a little bit more ahead of time. The hell? It's the only problem with so one of the things that I have to keep in mind when I do this is that after I've called one of these functions, chances are it will have actually changed the state, moved on to a different state. So I really don't want to be making changes to what I think is myself, which probably won't be because the Y register will be changed. So that's not something I want to do. So I want to make sure that any of these calls, like that change states, are done at the very end. That'll help a little bit later. So we've got this, and we're just gonna go to fin for now. Guess I could do this. Nah, I'm gonna go to fin because that's gonna change later on, I'm sure. All right, so we go in. Okay, retrieve unequal inner. Yeah, because all of this, like checking for inner, what I'll do is I'll change this to I'll grab the button ID and I'll search a table to see which one of these functions it should jump to. So let's see. course, this will probably blow up too. Oh my God, I've got messages on Facebook. Yeah, I'm taking time away. I'm looking at the shit on Facebook because that's what everybody does, right? All right. Actually, let's check. Let's see what kind of let's see if we can get a screen full of ass on this one. I mean that's any of the crashes that I've had that really, yeah. See, that's still not working. So on click. Actually, you know what? Let's do this. Actually, you know what? Yep. Even the keyboard response is screwing up. So yeah, definitely should have thought about this a little more ahead of time. All right, so we've got skipping that JSR into all right, so it's happened on the keyboard. Yeah, I'm sure that, oops, I don't want that up there. Oops, let's change that to done for now. Because that should not be doing any of that. Yeah, because at that point, of course, that would crash here because after we've called either, and this is what I was talking about earlier, after we call on state or exit scene, if either one of those have gone on to the next state, then that means that that next state is just reinitialized the layer and everything. So that start button, that address of that start button that I'm pulling out right here, no longer valid, no longer valid. And in fact, in languages like C and C++, we kind of refer to that as, or no, we do refer to that as undefined behavior because you're pulling a pointer that's no longer valid. So skipping all that shit should work. I guess I should actually build it first. So that takes care of that. It's just you don't work with one particular piece of code for a while. You kind of start forgetting that whole flow. It's not something that comes to you natural. So you end up with little problems like this. Back in the day, I kept a huge ass notebook of this kind of stuff. In fact, I mean, I had three different binders. Um, One with just overall kind of design stuff for whatever for my projects, and that was kind of like the solid stuff that I'd completed, and stuff for like Image Master, the game board editor, Studio 29. That was kind of my documentation for those projects. Of course, I and the Barden book for reference, and then I had also taken the Unraveled series, which was at the time this was Coco 3, so there was four books. You had Color Basic, Extended Basic, This Basic, and Super Extended Basic, and man, that's still fucking bombing. Maybe I should do. Let's test enter. Let's see if enter screws up as much as exit. Um, and for that I had separators between each of the books. I had yeah, and that climbs too. Cool. Well, I fucked something up. Somebody out there is probably thinking, yeah, it's right there. But I had all those, and I had them, separators between each of the books. I had the little tabs around the top and the sides for each one with different places, and then I had a section for each one that had notes in it. Um, okay, so okay, where am I calling that from? Okay, so we're going to check out the keyboard stuff first. I can't believe I fucked this up this much. Oh well. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm not doing anything special here. This should be just fine. You know, I got a feeling I should not be saving any of the Y register here. Motherfucker, man. You know, it's just times like this I would load up the debugger. This should have been a simple task. I know I screwed up something small. All right, let's start from the beginning. We save our registers, check our little shit. No, nothing that we need for that. We're going to skip doing that. So we go to in key, nothing special about that. Just goes to show and add character and add backspace are within the context of this. So we get to enter and on exit. So both of them are bailing. Well, ain't that a shitter? Man, I need some different music for this. Do 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 do. All right, let's get some different music on here because this crap that I got on is just not doing it for me. Yeah, some sexy and I know it. There we go. Turn my shit down, see if that doesn't. Warning: the stream's current bitrate is lower than expected. Yeah, well, that sucks. Oh, yeah. So even people who've been doing this for decades even can run into a fucking simple problem, but it's just all of the flow, and it's going to be something incredibly stupid. All right, let's make this easier. Yeah. Well, let's see if the overall flow is screwing this up. It's got to be going to the next state is the problem. But usually it doesn't cause this many problems. Yeah, some better music. Oh, drop shit on the floor. Tempted to load up the debugger, but I got to finish integrating that into my copy of, okay, that's not what's blowing up there, so we got that. Oh, clicking on start did, and that should not have done anything. Let's try that again. Well, I did not. Okay, so the click is certainly causing a problem. Okay, check in key, JSR to unclick. And that is going to also be calling these, so let's get rid of that. Man, that's going to be a bitch to fix then. Yep, that state change is what's the culprit here. So, man, I'm gonna hate having to do that. There's no reason for it. Man, this state machine is not that goddamn difficult. So it's not gonna make any difference either, because that's ah. Trash and why when I definitely need it. At least I'm pretty sure that's, oops. That's not going to work either. Because the reason here is that in these, at least in this function, I am totally trashing X, which contains the address of the state machine. So when these other functions go off to do their thing and go to the next state, they're pointing to shit and it blows up. Okay. Now, how do I want to address this? That helps for the on click, but it doesn't explain anything else. So as long as I get that one step at a time. Oh no, Gangnam Style. I don't know if I can code to this song. Don't get me wrong, I like Psy. He's a pretty chill cat, but all right. And we're back to working at least on one. So let's all right. Quit. New. Oh, and that is still okay. So we've got that problem solved. That was just not paying attention to the code that I'm extracting, that's kind of a big deal. So now, luckily, uh, this code from here on out is actually going to be changed anyway. But I need to figure out what I'm going to do with the table, how I want to set that up, and all that good shit. I just don't feel like doing that right now. But now that I know what's wrong, all right. So on to start game. Let's see. Let me make sure that starts. I think I just did that, but hey. Do. Yep. Okay. Hmm. Do. Okay, so start game and on click are now working from the click. So let's. Yep, that should be just fine. I'm not sure if I'm still going to need to keep this in there, but I'll move that out in a minute. Shouldn't make any difference because X being trashed was the problem. And it still fucking blows up. You bitch. All right, so this is going to be in here. Actually, you know what? I should probably check to see if exiting, because right now it's actually set up for the break key. Yep, that blows up too. But it takes a couple of taps to do it, so that's definitely doing something wrong. Motherfucker, man. A little baffling actually, because I shouldn't. Everything says it's fine. I'll go through here. I mean, we're not trashing any registers. We handle on click, and that's, maybe I'm not exiting correctly now. Let me just check that. I mean, it doesn't trash anything. Go down here to on here and call that. Let's move this up here. Nope, don't want to do that. Yeah. Well, ain't that a pain in the ass? So why is the keyboard handler not working correctly? Hmm. No, let's try this. Oops, I just done that. Okay, that should take us totally out of the context of this. Oh God, not this fucking song again. That is it. Well, what the fuck? What am I trashing that this needs? X. It's got to be X. I got to be trashing X in there somewhere. No, that can't be it. If this motherfucker is trashing X, I'm gonna be pissed. Let's see if this is even using it, because that is. I'd link. Looks like I'm trashing X in there. Well, fuck me. All right, let's do this. Yeah, fuck it. Just as a quick test. Okay, I hate this song, but I'm gonna have to rewind it. Gonna have to rewind it. What it's called? The Fox by I can't even read it. Ylvis. I gotta be a European band, I'm sure. Um, so essentially, what does the Fox say? It's got to be one of the dumbest yet most genius songs I've ever heard. Go check it out. Go check it out. Maybe I'll add a link to it later on. But I don't know. Maybe I'll click on it here a little bit. Hang on a second. This is. Now, let me rewind this. Uh, this is such a dumb fucking song. I don't even think my volume is one of those things that gets in your skin and just like fucks with you the entire day. All right, this is of course now I've forgotten that I did. Surprised I didn't have a. That appears to be the problem. Well, that's what I get for stealing shit from Disc Extended or from Extended Color Basic or Color Basic actually, because that's all I did was I did that back in the day. I have been using that same in key code since 1986. I disassembled the in key and Color Basic and modified it for repeat keys and couple of and extra function keys and mapping the key the function keys and the alt combinations and all that to different key characters and been using it ever since. I mean, hell, I did that for like Image Master was one of the first things that I did. So, all right, let's go through and take a look at this. I gotta clean some of this stuff up. These changes. All right. Cha-cha-cha-chow. Yes, I use Git for all of my stuff. That's why I'm not too worried about that bug. Apparently, right now this actually is not loading up on Arial Coco 3 because something in the loader is screwed up, and I screwed something up sometime between the 15th of September or August and the 1st of September. So I've just got to step through the commits and find the before and after I screwed it up, and then go in and fix of it. It has something to do with the ZX0 compression that I added in, because that's now integrated with my file IO stuff so that I can actually decompress a file while loading. You can't do anything with the MMU at that point because the ZX0 uses the entire area that it's decompressing as its window. Everything that it's already decompressed is part of its dictionary for copying bytes that have already repeating patterns and stuff. So I think we're looking pretty good here, but we'll clean some of this stuff up later on. All of the how we're entering and exiting because that's just so InKey is trashing my shit, you fucker. Where am I using that? See, I've got that like all over the place. See, that's the problem. You find one problem. See, I'm using that. I just copy and paste the code all the way through my to the scenes. Just copy one over there, renamed it and all that, just to kind of get stuff into place. So now I've got that same problem in all of these places. That's one of the reasons why I want to get all of this shit out of here and put into an event pump so that it handles everything. And of course, when I run into a problem like this, it's not so difficult to to track down. I mean, that was a colossal waste of fucking time. And if you don't like my language, the door's right over there, son. All right, so we've got that set up. We'll clean some of that up later on. Finished is whatever. See, the problem here is I'm not sure if I want that on update of the scene state being called first before I do all my stuff because that not sure that's going to work out too well. for some of the choreography that I've got planned for this. All right, so we've got on click separated. That's kind of that's really the big one that that we want to do here. So see, the problem here is that on click is pulling from the UI layer in order to find its stuff. So that I don't really want to have that hard coded. Even though everything is kind of using my UI layer at the moment for all of that stuff, I'm not really sure that's a good idea, but we're going to start with that anyway. Kind of bake that stuff in there. Let me do a commit for this and let's see, added UI event pump. Of course, after I get done with all these little commits, I collapse them into a single one. Trust me, if you're not using Git on your Cocoa projects, I gotta ask why, man. Why not? Or at least some type of source control. It seems like everybody I talk to is like, oh yeah, I got I got copies of that. I got 4 or 5 copies of that. I talk to people, they got like 30 copies. The last things to do. I mean, you keep all that stuff in Git, and man, that shit's taken care of for you. Pretty easy. It's a lot easier to deal with, and you can go back and do easy comparisons and make sure that you got everything going good. All right, so we're good to go here, and probably add some kind of hotkey to this at some point, but we'll see here. Okay, so on update, this right here is going to be kind of that key area or that key thing. So all right, let's do this. Going to have an on event function. Now, if you were paying attention earlier to oops, no, wrong one. Chaos state machine. Or maybe it didn't show up. Yeah, if you didn't see, I've got actually some standard event IDs already defined that all of the event handlers, across the board can actually rely on. Of course, you could do user defined ones. Of course, think of uh, like the messaging that happens within the Windows API. It's kind of the same thing. So now in this case, I'm using typically for an ID, I always use even numbers. That way I can avoid any type of shifting or multiplications or whatever in the ID. I can just go ahead and specify this. Now I'm going to be the event comes in on a on the event. And actually, I should probably update this because the register is actually used is required on the event. And that the A contains the event ID down here, and then B, ACCB will contain whatever data for it. So if it's a click, it'll have the button that was or the control ID that was that. In fact, I should change this to control click. So, and I'll clean that. I'll add the other click in there because um, I also want to have a click that actually passes the um, X and Y values of the of where it was clicked on, and that way I can kind of cascade certain things. But anyway, so I've got all of this set up. So I'm going to be relying right now on the control click um, thing. We're probably going to do a little bit here. Let's see. Switch back over to start game. Oh, it's a song I haven't heard in a while. Flow Rida, right round. Okay, it's a good tune. Oh, and I got my weed here, so I have to go take a hit of that here pretty soon. I'm not allowed to do that on YouTube anymore. So, hmm. Okay, so here we've got our on click. See, the on click should actually be from here on. So this belongs in. Nope, I did not want to do that either. But I do want that separated. Nope, I didn't want that either. This goes into the pump. So here's what we got to do here for this. That's now we want to do the on control, click event, and yep. Now I'm including these in here now because I am going to be using them later. Like I said, the fade in, fade out, that's all going to happen from the palette events, and then the timer. At least for this scene, is I thought maybe I'll pop up a couple of messages if you just like sit there for 30 seconds or a minute or something and don't type anything in. It's going to pop up a message like, say, hey, hurry up, little douchebag, or something like that. So, and oh, this is going to be hairy because I need to keep all of my registers here. X, X, because that's let's see. Entry is address. Scene, state instance. Oops. And event argument 2. Okay. That'll work. So anyway, what I'm doing here is I'm saving my registers here, and I'm actually saving an extra register because U is pushed before X. So I just grab, and of course I want to save X because I need that because that's the state machine. So then I grab the address of the function to call, stash that up onto the stack so that when I return, it just loads into the PC and does it. It's a cheap and easy way of getting shit done. So, so on click is not going to need any of this anymore. And then of course I'll turn the on click. Let's see, I should probably change that to I'll change that later. So let's try the keyboard stuff first because that's going to be a little easier. Oh, gone too far. All right, so we've got, here we go, a grab in key, which returns a key in A, same as color basic branch if it's not done. In fact, I should change this to set the carry flag. Then we want to transfer A over into B because we want our key code in B because A is our event ID and that's kind of across the board. And of course, this is all going to be sitting outside of the state, so it's not going to have any real knowledge of what's going on in this. So let's move that up there. Where was I going with that? Oh yeah, on event. Backspace and this. So I'm going to have to figure out something to do with this particular set of logic here because this updates the button state of the start button or the state of the start button based on whether or not there are any characters in there. So, all right, so this is all the keyboard stuff here. I thought I changed that all to B. And we're just going to go to yeah, see, this is not going to work out very well sitting right here because once we change states, the shit is no longer valid. So I'm going to have to contend with that. That's actually something that I did not anticipate having to deal with. So that is going to be a bit of a pain in the butt. But hey, that's what we're doing, right? But hey, at least I don't need an emulator to actually run it. I mean, it will run on a real Coco as long as I fix that fucking bug. I mean, Jesus, I mean, how low do you have to set the bar to think that doing an emulator only game is like the it thing or something? I mean, that's fucking lazy. That's some lazy ass bullshit right there. I mean, VCC is not a platform. It's an emulator. It's a tool. It's a convenience, but it's not a Coco. It's not a platform. The Coco is a platform. The VCC is fucking fantasy land, though, man. It's nice little fantasy land. And it's look nice and convenient, but all right. So we've got our dispatch table. So let's. Oops. That's a big ass chunk of code too. Let's do this. All right, so this is actually going to be, no, I don't think I'm going to put that into a table. Actually, I know what I can do with these. I'll just set the carry flag if the state changes. That should work out just fine. Okay, so I got a plan for that. Okay, so these are going to be invalid kind of things. Don't. Okay, so I'm not really needing to save anything here quite yet. Oh, it's 4:20. You know what that means? It's afternoon. Time to get your ass out of bed. All right. Let's see my phone. Yes, I have my phone an alarm set on my phone for 4:20 every single day. Just because, man. Just because. All right, so we're trashing all kinds of shit here that we don't want to trash. So we are going to save our registers. Oh, yeah, we're going to save all of these for right now. So this is going to be a problem. And it's actually going to kick a little bit more work than I was really anticipating to get some of that stuff done. Coordinating that the state change. I mean, that's really the only difficult part here is that I mean, in a higher level language, it would be ass crack easy to take care of. But when you're working in assembly, man, all those tiny little details about every little thing are going to screw it up for you. That's why I tell people, it's like if you're learning assembly language, don't think that you're going to be, creating some sizable project right from the beginning. And if you're trying to create a sizable project and learn assembly at the same time, well, you're a fool because it's just going to end up incredibly badly. I mean, you're going to end up, if it even works at all, or if you even finish it, it's just going to be terrible from start to finish. I mean, there are just so many things that you should be learning other than just writing code. If you want to write code, load up Edhasm, use Zbug and all that stuff, and you're good to go. But stick with learning assembler, not creating a sizable project because you'll screw it up. That's just how it is. All right, so we're coming in here and hmm, why is this gonna screw things up? You know what? Oh, you know what? Since we are doing keyboard stuff right now, I actually don't need this code in there. So we're gonna get rid of that for the moment. Disable that. All right, so I'm gonna have to fix in key later. All right, so the next and keyboard is everything so. Oh, if we can't type shit in, oh, Brant's out of range. What did I get here? I've got to have a space in there. Oh, oops. I thought I named that on keyboard event. Yeah, on keyboard event. Oh, help if I capitalize the shit I'm supposed to capitalize. I gotta do keyboard, man. This is getting to me. All right, keyboard. These underscores are actually all right. Not needed. Branch destiny. Okay, that's bah. Do 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 do. Well, my Facebook notifications are like off the hook today. I'm not even bothering to check most of them. Oops, gotta close that. And that doesn't even do anything. Oh, I guess I should do this. Get rid of that transfer to A. Don't need that anymore. Trash and shit there, and we're good to go. Like again, I gotta check, man, the code I'm moving out of there. Man, I noticed, the thing is, I noticed that earlier. I noticed that earlier. There we go. And of course, that's not changing. Okay, so we got that going. Okay, that still works, so that's cool. So that works all from that external function. Man, see that this is just a pain in the ass to handle the box, the input box. So I may actually move these into a button. That's I have to change that to control UI control layer or something. All right, so we've got that. That's pretty good. Okay, so keyboard is rigged up for handling events. So yeah, all this code right here will be done or moved out of the thing. Of course, this right here will be replaced anyway with the thing. So let's say, okay, so we got to click here. Let's do this. Okay. Control click. I should maybe change that to just button click. Yeah, see, that's wrong. I need to rename that already. And we're just going to clear B. Actually, you know what? There we go. Now we can send the bits from the PIA on over, at least for the moment. That'll give us an idea what's going on, just in case we need it. And on event. My dog just farted, and I can smell. She's on the other side of the damn room, man. That's some lingering shit right there, man. And boom, that actually worked. Hmm. Try that again. That's cool. There's something worked first time off the bat. It's a nice change of pace. Now to handle this one, that's gonna require some rework. Actually, you know what? I only need to do that check when I'm doing keyboard stuff. So let's change that. Okay, I'll just leave that one there for right now. And so I want to go back to here. Actually, I'm going to change that to on enter. All right, so on care and on backspace. Anytime either one of those is hit, I'll have to do this little check up here. And that check should never happen anytime that there's there. So we're going to do this. You know what? I'm going to shorten the name for once because it's a local label. Don't really care too much about that. That's pretty easy to figure out anyway. I just hate having to. Could you imagine having to fit all of these labels into a scheme that uses only 6 characters? I mean, that would be fucking ridiculous. I mean, the lack of expression. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I like cross collars and the or cross assemblers. The one that I'm using, I mean, I've updated it. I don't actually have a limit on a hard limit on the length of labels. So really, I mean, you could have a 100 character label, like 1,000 character label if you wanted to. I mean, however much you could fit in a memory before the application just croaks. But overall, I mean, hey, pretty cool, huh? And my music just stopped. Okay, yeah, I'm not listening to that. That's a crap ass. How did that get on my mix play or my mix? It's like, oh, Barbie Girl, there's a good one. Let's see, Mark Ronson, Tone Loc with some funky cool Medina. Yeah, let's go with that. Let's go with some funky cool Medina. And y'all can't hear this, I don't think. I mean, I should probably turn that on, maybe add a little ambience to it. I don't know. I'll probably get a copyright hit for um, from YouTube on it. But I mean, at that point, I think they just list the number of songs in your thing. But who knows? Who knows? Unless you're Stevie and actually take somebody's content when that person doesn't fucking like your dumb ass. Fucking douchebag. Uh, so, and of course, I don't think you'll see much of this in the. I don't think you'll see much mention of this in like the Glenside newsletter. So, all right, you know what? Actually, I'm going to commit all of this before I am done. Before I get started on this next phase. And I'll actually clean some of this crap up. Actually, I'm going to do that now. some support functions here. This should really be in scene state. Just pass the address of the button list and something to indicate the end of it. And I can just do that from a table as well. So yeah, most of this stuff is going to be driven by tables anyway. I mean, there is so much that is in this project that is data driven, and that's the goal. To have as much of it data driven as possible, so that I mean, most of the data I generate from external tools. So, but yeah, so yeah, I mean, if you're going to do a project on the Cocoa, I definitely recommend learning a language other than just assembly. Even if it's just for the Cocoa, maybe even if it's just basic or C or something that you can write your tools in, and have some confidence that you're going to be able to write a tool in, because that's one of the things about doing stuff on the Cocoa, but any retro machine is you don't want to get you want to be able to create tools because you're going to have to. I mean, even back in the day, I had to create pretty much every tool just about every tool that I use. In fact, the only tools that I think I didn't create myself was that I used at least on a regular basis for development was Color Max Deluxe. I mean, that was a fantastic program. So it still is. I actually preferred that over Color Max 3, just for the simplicity and the compression. That just uses basic RLE for the images, which is okay for some images, not okay for others. But actually, I should probably test this again. But Image Master, I created because I needed something to not just edit or touch up my sprites, but I needed a way to arrange them and manage them all in a group. And um, there was a couple of choices, something like Image Master or how I started was with a tool that took a Color Max image and really just treat it as a same way we treat sprite sheets these days, is divided. If your sprites were 16 by 16, then it divided it up into a 16 by 16 grid and extracted all of the things for that. And there was actually still support for stuff like that in Image Master, where you could load in an MGE and then go in and clip out part of it as to be a sprite, and add it in, and then you could do all your masking and all that good stuff. So it was pretty helpful. And that was one of the things I could load the images in, crop them up, maybe do some touch up, generate them in assembly language, or just load them in from my thing, and then generate all the masks for it, and code if I needed it. It was just a wonderful little tool. 5.0 was a great uh, version that I never released. It had a shit ton of new stuff. Okay, so we are good to go on that. So let's go ahead and commit this before we really start screwing shit up here. Okay, that's good. That's good. That's good. Yep. All right. Actually, I need to create a couple more scenes in OBS too. I need to have one that I can pop up that says I'm off taking a leak, out draining the lizard. And we got plenty of lizards out here in the desert. So I do like that one. I saw in the news that this I guess it was a very very full grown monitor lizard was crawling up the window of some lady's uh, door out in Florida. Like, it's a pretty big sucker too. Because when I first saw, I'm like, it probably ain't all that big, because it's in Florida, and I mean, we got some big ass fucking lizards out here in the desert. And I saw a picture of it. I was like, Jesus Christ, that thing is fucking huge. All right, so now we have our button control back. So don't have to do anything special. And I mean, because having it do the set the carry flag would be a pain in the ass for this because it would have to chain. I mean, I have to cascade back up or uncascade or whatever the opposite of that's back up to the original call site, which would be up here. So, all right, so we've got fin done, and don't think we've got any done in there. Oh, I should. All right, let's see here. Okay, let's start this up here. Okay, so we've got the on event. All right. So now all I do is I take what I'll do is I'll take uh, the address of this table and kind of drop it up in here like something like this, FTD dispatch. So I'll have an actual dispatch table that I can load from the scene state, so it doesn't have to know anything about what I'm actually. So the scene state, which is actually what this is derived from, it based on. Um, this allows me to use the functionality from scene state along with any new functionality that I add in. So you'll see some calls here to scene state on enter and on exit because that's our base. So I'll stick this into scene state, and it doesn't have to know anything about what I or any of the other states are doing, and it'll just handle everything all just kind of magically and shit. So the wonders of being modular in your programming and effectively using dynamic dispatch, which is really just an indirect jump or indirect JSR call. It's all it is. And I don't think I would try hardly half of this shit on some of the other CPUs that I've worked with because like the 6502 would just suck for something like this. It really would. It would really suck for something like this. Oh, walk this way. I haven't heard this shit in a long time either. At least my stream is still going and seem to be getting decent uplink. At least my shit isn't ghetto today. So anyway, I do have to go pee, so I will be right back. Actually, you know what? Oh, I could just post a message. I'm have to take a pee because that's I'm gonna take y'all to the bathroom with me. So I'm just sitting here talking in the bathroom. Yeah, no, I'm not really. I'm just gonna go ahead and put this on mute. I think I'm gonna make something to snack on too. I gotta get something up for that. Make sure that I got that taken care of because in fact I think I'm gonna have to maybe have a cookie or something. But yeah, and some of the stuff does actually get to be a little difficult at times. Um, and in this case, I just kind of jumped into something without like going through and really reviewing the code to see what the call paths would look like and how the registers were managed. So that certainly throws a monkey wrench in it. Back in the day, I'd have paid a lot more of attention to it. It's because when I think it was Was it Image Master? Might have been Image Master or yeah, it had to have been Image Master because the 5.0, which was actually pretty sizable. Um, it took, I don't know, a good 2 or 3 minutes to assemble, and I was using uh, a cracked version actually of Circomp's Editasm 3 for the Coco 3, which gotta say that I mean I actually liked it more than the other assembler. Certainly liked it a lot more than Edtasm, but at the same time it was the Coco 3 version was a bit of a disappointment, mostly because of the fact that it really didn't take much advantage of some of the Coco 3's feature. I mean, when you'd still run out of memory if you had a large application with something like just a whole ton of code, a whole lot of symbols. You could still run out of memory. It didn't take advantage of the extra 128K or the extra 64K and 128K machine or the 512K and a 512K machine. It didn't. I mean, you could certainly use uh, a RAM disk, and that would certainly help. And in fact, that was how I assembled it. Everything is that I would unload everything from memory and tell it to assemble the file from disk, which was a still, I mean, 2 or 3 minutes still reading from a RAM disk. It was still slow as fuck to assemble, but it was a little bit of a disappointment. Of course, Bill Bergona, the author, he actually knew that I was using a cracked version because I told him that under no under no uncertain terms would I ever buy it. I mean, that was just not going to happen. I had a bit of a contentious relationship with him. It comes from sending him cracked versions of his programs. The thing is, though, is I never actually distributed his software. I cracked it for sure, just to piss him off. Really, I mean, a couple of times to just to really make him to irritate the fuck out of him. Because I mean, the first one he said that well, my stuff can't be cracked. It wasn't that it didn't say that it couldn't be copied. He said it couldn't be cracked, which was a whole different story. So I got a hold of my friend, loaded up Master Key 2, which was a great cracking tool for the Coco 1 and 2. Didn't work on the Coco 3 because of the way that the I think the interrupt signal was set, and it but you load up your program, hit the reset button, and press the button on the master key cartridge, and when you release the reset button on the Coco, it would come up with the program that was in the ROM pack, in the master key ROM pack, and it would take control of the machine. So you had access to really the memory state of everything. So you could save out an image and then just load it back in and execute it where it left off, and you had a crack. It was probably the easiest crack that I've ever done, and it was supposed to be uncrackable. So and I gave him a copy of it, and he was not happy. I can tell you that. Um, but I also let him know about the other cracks that were happening. In fact, I let him use the master key cartridge so that he could protect his software against it. And he did. He actually managed to protect it. So anyway, I'm gonna take a hit here because this is just awesome. So mm, that's tasty, very tasty. But yeah, like the cracks from Ram Man, I sent them to him so that he can analyze, how the crack was done, and he was pretty diligent and pretty good at protecting his software. I'll give him that. That was and his software was I gotta say it was top notch. Even though I was disappointed in Net 2003, that's just me. But his software was pretty freaking tight. I mean, it was the um, uh, the word. And it wasn't really a word processor. It was a more of a layout kind of thing where you could do all kinds of typesetting. I mean, when I went over to his house, he had a Mac set up. He had all this typesetting, electronic typesetting, kind of setups done. And in fact, I sent him an email a few years ago, and he still had some of his old disk drives that nobody wanted. The old Tallgrass controller, which was it. Didn't run, as far as I know, it was like a different formatting scheme from what we use. It had a different DOS, and just it just wasn't popular. All right, so we don't need to do anything with those, but we do need to clean some of this up. Can't really do much about the keyboard input, so I'm going to kind of call that a little finished right now, because that's really specific to what we're doing here. I mean, if I was just doing hotkeys, it'd be different. I'd just create a table from it, but and maybe I'll still do that just to check first if it's a hotkey. Let's see. Okay, button. Okay, so control click event. This is where we want to start getting um, started. So let's start with a struct here. Event. Let's just click event. Fucking long ass names, man. That's what I get for being expressive. All right, so we want the ID, and then the this is probably a bit much, but I do this with a lot of stuff for defining uh, members or the contents of particularly data structures. Um, just for the fact, like I mentioned yesterday, if I change something, I want to know it. That's why I use macros that have, first of all, named parameters and actually enforce the number of arguments. So if I only pass it one or I pass it three, it's going to give me an error. So let's do this. ID and FDB handler. Now I'm actually looking at uh, updating my assembler so that I can do something like this. Let's see, I'm going to do this here. Let's see, control click event. Just I'm gonna make this fucking long. I'm gonna make this as long as I can. Let's see how many characters is that? 57 characters. 57 characters for naming on the. But anyway, I'm gonna do something like instead of this, let's see, this is 0, comma yeah, that's on enter, and then we're gonna do this one. I really need to get some symbolics in there for the control IDs, and then we're gonna do this. And then we're going to do so that I'll just check if the oh that's gonna be terrible. Oh well, I'll work it. So anyway, I'd like to rather than doing something like this, I'd rather do something like oh, never mind. Let's see, fix this up. All right. Jesus Christ, that is just an absurdly, insanely long label name. I'm gonna have to do something. I need namespaces, is what I need. That's definitely what I need. Um, oh, how do I want to do this? All right, well, I can just skip a little bit. I'll just do a loop. And oops. I should probably actually be using the Y register here at this point, but yeah, my dog needs to stop farting, or if Let's see now. Branch of equal to the match. All right, that's not gonna. No, I'm gonna hard code some of this stuff in right now. Jesus. Size of x and direction equal to that. Oh. All right. Oh, that's gonna suck. Let's see, all this goes away. Start game on exit scene. All right, so we have the okay. Oh God, the fucking Macarena. So we're gonna use U here instead. So this is gonna muck up a couple of things later on, but I'll just have to I'll have to find another way. That's dumb. Copy paste the wrong one. Load U, okay. Yeah, this is just some crap ass code right here. Boy. Lack of planning. Next time I'm gonna plan a little bit better. Maybe I'll think about it for more than a couple of seconds. All right, so we've got our click event in. So I have to create. I'm going to create a UI scene state for this. This is ridiculous. Some of this stuff is just not going to be here. All right, so got that. We get our control ID. We get the start of our dispatch table. We check control ID. Hey, we got a match. Let's go do something with it. Go to the next one. Are we done? No. Branch loop. Good to go. So if you didn't know it, compare U, compare D, and compare Y all require an extra byte and an extra cycle over compare X. Normally I'd use X, but I need to pass both X and Y to the handler, and D and U actually don't care about it in this context because that's we're in the context of the event handler. So that's that will that works to our advantage a little bit, I guess. Oh my God, I lost all viewers. My God, how long have I been doing this? Wow, almost 2 hours again. Cutting it, coming up broke. Got another 15 minutes, and we'll have surpassed the time I spent on this yesterday, which is too much time. All right, so we've got this. I need to go in and add some comments to all this stuff. I'll do that to clean up. But I always do try to go back in and comment the stuff. Most of the time, the comments end up being unnecessary, though. They really do, because the expressiveness of these 57 character fucking labels, man. All right, now compiled. Ran. Let's see. So this should actually remove a fair amount of code out, because like the on event, I'll stash the event dispatch table in the state data or in the state instance. Yeah, all of that. All right, let's see how much we've blown up now. Oh my God, it worked. Fucking believable. Oh, rocky start and quit. Okay, well, it seems to be working. Ah, that's a really, really good sign. So, all right. Yeah, usually the first run of code is a little sloppy. So actually, let's take these. I'm gonna move this stuff up here, up to the top. So I'll move the all this stuff will go into the all these the struct and stuff will go into our UI state once I create that from this. Should have done it the other way around, but all right. Okay, check-in key. Machine event ID, control click. All right. Okay, goes on to the keyboard event, which I guess those could go into a hotkey thing, but really it's more code than is really. And we got our on character, which adds our thing or removes a character, and got our on enter and on exit functions, update button state. Okay, control click. Let's see, that's going to be needed to be generic. I should probably check that for null. I gotta. Boy, this just lops a whole bunch of more details on it that I just had not thought about. Okay, on start game is simple enough. On exit scene, oh, I can just get rid of that. Simple. And then we've got all of our text. So yeah, a good portion of that's going to go away. Awesome. Well, not go away, but go into a different thing. So actually, I think we might actually be done for this for the day anyway. Next, I'll start. Start game. And I need to document all this stuff. So add buttons. Um, yeah. See what I'll do is let me see, where is it? Scene state. Scene state, states. See, I create a scene state based on the state that uh, is in here. So we use status base. So we've got all of our functions or dynamic dispatch functions that I was talking about earlier. And then we add in some of our own stuff for initializing memory, loading scene data, editing scene. This is all kind of standard stuff that's across all scenes. So what I'll do is I'll create a UI uh, scene state based on this, and I'll just add more stuff here, like all of the stuff that this functionality requires. All it's like table, or this table is here. The use this and use that. Have it start up and add the buttons automatically. All kinds of good stuff. If there's a button list, there's all kinds of stuff I can do to make this so much easier, to where all I have to do is uh, set these data. And I think I'm going to actually kind of start on a little bit of that right now, and use use the start game as a bit of a test bed. So hey, we might have a couple more hours of this. I don't know. I don't know how long is YouTube going to let me go on. I mean, do they let me do this stuff for a prolonged period of time? All right, I've got some likes on Facebook that I got to check. A mail order bra. Yeah. So if you're watching, say hi in the chat to everybody, because they probably don't care either. I don't know. I don't know. I probably couldn't watch something like this, but hey, I'm live. All right, so let's see what we got here. Yep, I'm gonna have to step outside for a second, but I'm gonna take you along with me because my dog just farted again, and boy, is it nasty. Nasty. God. So yeah, if you want to learn assembly language, I definitely recommend avoiding doing even a medium-sized project. But if you think that you're going to learn assembly and do a large-scale project and have it turn out even remotely like you think it will, not going to happen. Very, very little chance of that. And even if it does, chances are it's going to be pretty terrible implementation, have a lot of problems and a lot of frustration along the way, because you're fighting with two things. You're learning how to create or write assembler, and you're also learning how to construct software or build software. And those are two very different things. I mean, you should learn both of them independently, certainly. Um, building software is, or writing code is part of building software. It's just one piece of it. So if you want to learn assembly, I say, get something like EdTasm. You've got your editor built in, you've got your assembler built in, you've got a debugger built in, so you can kind of step through it, get a feel, kind of verify and see for yourself, what's going on with like the condition codes and the the register contents and all of that, and so you can you'll absorb it a lot more, and you follow like the exercises in William Barton's book on assembly language. There's some pretty good exercises in there. I think there's a couple of errors in that book that you might want to look up or ask about if you do that. But and concentrate on learning just assembly language. Learn the instruction set, learn the side effects of an instruction. That's important. How does that instruction affect um, the condition codes? I mean, because you'll see where I'll do things like set the carry flag, um, and then 3 or 4 instructions. That's when I return. And I do things in between there, instructions that don't affect that carry flag. So knowing that is will certainly help you write more efficient software and just learn that, or just remember that you got to think, you know, 10 instructions ahead and 10 instructions behind to kind of keep everything, straight and think about what you're doing. And you get it once you get some assembly language done as you're doing that, kind of brush up on um, how to build software, what to look for. I mean, like this state machine. I mean, this state machine I've had for quite some time, and it pretty much covers everything that I need and allows me to do what I need to do. I mean, I just dropped in an event pump, although it's not great, at least not yet. But once I've gotten it moved out into that UI thing, I will be able to use all of this code that I've just spent what almost 4 hours on, well 4 hours on now, total, in every single one of those other scenes. So when I go to the options page, I'm going to be able to have those click events and those keyboard events kind of come through, and I'll be able to manage that pretty easily. The credits and the chumps page, you've got maybe some navigation between pages. Same with the high score page, but when you get into the game, that the this armory page, where you've got all these is what nine total of nine user face elements that you want to be able to interact with. That's going to certainly benefit here, and uh, even these general menus here will kind of well, not kind of, they will benefit from it because each one of these will be a clickable object. It just won't have an actual image associated, or it'll just be a blank thing, so it doesn't actually have to do anything. It just has that click point, and I click it. Now, if I want to change those to um, highlight, like if I want to change these all to like gray or whatever, then have them turn gold when the mouse is over them, so that you know what to click on. Um, that's a lot more easy to do, or a lot easier to do within a system like that, rather than something that is just hand coded specifically for that um, for that scene. So if you're constantly coding the same pattern over and over and over again, well, that's a pattern, and you should take that pattern and consolidate it into some common code that you can use across your thing. That requires a little bit of thought, and that requires, again, having at least a little bit of an understanding of how to build software, how one piece of software works with another, and putting it all together. So let's get started on some of this anyway. Oh, we got start games here. And actually, I think I'm going to take a break for a little bit. Maybe I'll return with a third episode and building a UI screen. So I think that I'm just going to cut off for now, and that'll be it. I mean, we're at 2 hours and 5 minutes. Maybe I'll do it. In fact, I should cut it now so that maybe a minute less than it was yesterday. So, but anyway, that's it. So I'm out of here. Have a good evening. If you don't see me again, maybe I will be doing another video. Who knows? But have a good night.